Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Furious here, and today I got a nice transition effect in store for you and your Valorant montages. So yeah, let's get right into it. Alright, so before we start the video, I want to make sure to let you guys know to subscribe. I'm coming with a lot of these throughout the week. If you like these sorts of guides, or if you want to get better, make sure to subscribe. It supports me, supports you, because you'll make your montages better, and overall we'll have a chill time. Alright, let's jump in. Alright, so you set up your project, you drag your video into your timeline. The first thing you want to do is unlink the footage, basically your video from your audio. And the reason we're going to be doing this is because the first step is to make that speed transition happen from that dead space in between your kills. And what I mean by this is, like, I get the first kill, or you get your first kill, and then you have this long dead space. No one wants to watch you walk up this catwalk. They just want to see the one frag go to the next, right? So this is the neat transition effect. We're going to speed it up and add a little bit of flair to your montage. Next thing you want to do is right click the video clip here and go to show clip free frames, highlight over that, highlight over time remapping, and then speed. Before it was showing opacity of the video clip, but now it's showing the clip keyframes. Alright, so next you want to left click onto your video and go to the effect controls window. If you don't have it, go to window and effect controls, or click shift 5 on your keyboard. You want to head on over to the time remapping, and under speed you can see that it has the speed of 100% because your video is playing at 100% speed. You want to go to that time in your video where you just finished getting the first kill, and you want to add a keyframe. These keyframes will serve as markers to transition from one speed to another. Then I'm going to go to the second, just before the second kill, right about here where I peeked the corner, and I'm going to add another keyframe. So the reason why we added the show speed, it allows the slider to just be so easy during the video clip, and we can really play around with it a lot. So I'm just going to take the middle part and drag that line up all the way to about 300%. Again, we just want these kills to be right next to each other, just enough time for people to notice the transition effect that you've created, but then they're right back into the action with your second kill. Of course, the audio isn't lined up, so I'm going to mute that for now. But as you can see, once I get the first kill, it speeds up and transitions straight into the second one, which is exactly what we want. Next, what you want to do is you want to chop up this audio, or fade it out rather. So we're going to click the audio. If you want to lock your video, that way you don't accidentally crop that instead, you can hit Control K on your keyboard. I'm going to go a couple frames over to kind of have that fade out effect, and it'll still work out really nicely. So Control K is going to cut it. I can then drag this audio piece over here, so then I can have a nice fade out, little tiny fade out. I can press Shift D on my keyboard next, and this just adds the automatic fade out effect. That's on default. If you don't have the automatic effect fade out effect enabled, you want to go to your effects panel or effects window, so Shift 7, and then you want to go to the audio transitions, crossfade, and then the constant power. You just want to drag it and drop it onto the end of your audio clip there. The next part though is to line up the last half of the clip, so we're going to do that real quick. Again, I can do the same thing, Shift D, and then I just drag a little bit to have less of a fade in. Alright, I'm going to unlock the video layer, and now we have the full speed up transition part. Alright, so next thing we're going to do is add that desaturation effect. This is step 2 out of the 3-step process of making that cool speed ramp motion blur effect to your Valorant montage. First thing you want to do is head on over to your project, head on over to the bottom right hand corner, not new bin, but this little paper with the folded edge. Click that as a new item, and you want to scroll down to adjustment layer. Click adjustment layer, make sure it matches your video file's resolution, click OK, and then it'll pop up in the project. You basically want to drag and drop it onto the layer above your video file. This adjustment layer, you can apply stuff like color curves, color gradients, color correction, and a whole bunch of stuff on top of any video layers underneath. And the only reason we're doing this for our desaturation layer is because if we apply the animations to the video file itself, it doesn't understand that it's already sped up as a video file, so it'll be hard to just simply click on the video and animate it, it'll animate at the wrong time. So this is the reason why we're using the desaturation effect on the adjustment layer itself. Next thing you want to do is hit Shift 7 or to your effects, type in Lumetri color under your search bar. So Lumetri, and then see, I have it already right there. So I'm gonna drop and drag it onto my adjustment layer. Not my video file, but my adjustment layer. Then I'm gonna hit the adjustment layer itself, go down to effect controls, and I'm gonna see, you can see now that Lumetri color is added, and beside where it says basic correction, you're gonna hit the little arrow, scroll down a little bit to where it says saturation, and you're gonna go just before where you made that keyframe for the speed up part of your video. You're gonna hit the alarm clock, that'll create a keyframe, it'll say at this point, it's gonna be at 100% saturation. Then I'm gonna drag a little bit forward just after the 300% keyframe, and I'm gonna type in 0. So it's basically gonna desaturate all the video files underneath. In this case we only have one, and then I'm gonna move it forward to this just before the second keyframe. I'm gonna add another one to make sure it's still at 0 at this point in time, and then just after that I'm going to click again and retype in 100. That way it'll make everything saturated from this point forward. So now if we replay everything together again, get the first kill, it turns black and white, and then it's fully color when I get the second kill. So that's how you do the desaturation effect. And now onto the motion blur. Alright, so now we're on to step 3, motion blur. You're almost there. You got this. You're gonna head on over to effects, hit Shift 7 or head on over to effects, type in directional blur. Now PSA, this isn't the most perfect motion blur effect. It is the best I can find on Premiere Pro. Sony Vegas has a much better and cleaner motion blur effect. You will see in this preview
one enemy
versus this preview.
One enemy
As you can see, big difference, right? So I'm going to show you how to do it in Sony Vegas after, but for now I'll show you what you can do with the directional blur. So you drag the directional blur again onto your adjustment layer that you've created before, not your video clip, because it again won't animate it properly. You want it to come in at the perfect time, and it depends how precise you are. If you want to make it the same keyframes as your saturation, you can just line it up exactly when. So I'll just do that. I'm going to animate just the blur length, and I'm going to set it to 0. The direction I'm going to set to 258. I just like this angle. You can set it to whatever you like. So I'm going to have it set to 0 at this point, and then at the second one where it starts to get to 300%, unsaturated, all that stuff, we're adding a whole bunch of blur, just about 10. And it's just a bit of blur, but it's almost gives you that feeling that you're like going really fast. And I mean, it's kind of true because the clip's going at 300%. And we're going to add another keyframe at the third one, and at the fourth keyframe, fourth desaturation, again I'm just lining it up. I'm just going to type in 0. As you can see, I'm just changing the values. Again, you can play around with them if it's too much, too little. This is what seems comfortable to me, and yeah, if you play it through, this is what you get.
one enemy
Alright, my Sony Vegas fellas, how's it going? Just a reminder that you can do everything from steps 1 to 2 in Sony Vegas. I'm pretty sure you knew that already, but if you don't and you want a tutorial, let me know in the comments. Let's go. Step 1, Control Shift B. Whoa, magic track appears. You're gonna right click, highlight over insert remove envelope, and click motion blur amount. Magic purple line appears. You're going to go to the part of the video where it starts to turn gray from Premiere Pro or from Sony Vegas. Depends if you edited in here. When it turns gray, you're just going to add points exactly before and after the gray effect occurs. So again, I have 4, and then I take the middle line in between these sets of 2, and I'm going to drag it up, and I found from testing that 60% is about the sweet spot for it. If it looks like it's too much, obviously drag it down, but you can play around with it, render it, and it's a pretty intensive process. And don't get afraid if the export kind of like freezes for a bit when it comes to this part of the motion blur, because it is doing a lot of magical stuff, magical wizardry, magical stuff. Alright, let's see. My computer has the audacity to pre-render this.
Enemy
Yeah, no, that's a disaster. We're not gonna try that.
one enemy
Alright, thanks for stopping by. That's it for this video. Make sure to give it a like, comment down below what you think, and of course subscribe for more editing content. You guys do the fragging, I teach you how to edit, and then you make montages which look sick and you can show off to your friends, family, etc. Yeah. See you in the next one.